It is very easy. The Ravens were on top of the world when they destroyed the 49ers and the fraudulent quarterback Brock Purdy, the most overrated quarterback, who people said was Joe Montana and Tom Brady. The Ravens scored 33 points in the game. Now, when they do make it to the Super Bowl as the best team in the world, the Baltimore Ravens have a 3-3 record in the AFC championship game. They should go. They should go through the playoffs on the road this year. So they'll have a 3-2 record on the road in the AFC Championship game. Kind of like Kamala Harris being elected the second black president. Obama was the first black president. Obama is Camacho 32. That's what resonates very well. The amount of time from Lamar Jackson's victory on Christmas over the 49ers to Super Bowl 59 is 59 weeks later. And now remember, Lamar Jackson, he scored 59 points at his home state of Miami, his first start in his first year as the permanent starter. I think that was, well, yeah, wasn't it 2018? I think it was. So that's the Super Bowl 59 that we speak about. The Louisiana Superdome. The Superdome's Camacho 59, so 59 weeks after the Ravens beat the 49ers, they'll be playing in Super Bowl 59. And the Lions' last championship game was the 1959 NFL championship game. This was the Ravens' 12th win of the year. The Ravens going to make it to the Super Bowl 12 years later. 12 years after Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl, Kamala Harris, the second black president, Lamar, the black quarterback that's going to win the Super Bowl, the first full-blooded black quarterback to win since Super Bowl 22. We know the 22 is going to connect to Kamala's birthplace of Oakland. The Ravens' first win this year over the Raiders, who originated from Oakland. That is the distinction we need to make. 1 year, 1 month, and 16 days. 1 month and 16 days from Christmas to February the 9th, including the 1 year, 1 month and 16 days. It's Superdome, that's Camacho 116. 116 is the same Camacho as Jackson. But Lamar Jackson is going to lose against Patrick Mahomes in week 1. He will lose the division to Joe Burrow in a comeback year. But Lamar Jackson is going to have a historic playoff run. The Ravens beat Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and then Colin Kaepernick and Jim Harbaugh. Ravens about to shock the world in similar fashion. The Mile High Miracle, the Hail Mary. This team, Lamar, is going to carry on his shoulders. Interesting candidates for the AFC title game. 6 games and 3 wins for the Ravens. I mean, it is Buffalo, that's Camacho 63. It is Bills. The Bills is Camacho 33. If it doesn't matter how many defensive players they lose, that if Josh Allen ends up carrying the team, then the Bills could be in the AFC Championship game. It's just quarterbacks carry the teams in the AFC. It didn't matter about the Bills defense. The Bills defense. I mean, they hardly had a defense against Patrick Mahomes. It's quarterback play dictates the NFL, because this is a league marketed around quarterbacks. But we speak about occultic 6. It won't surprise me to see Patrick Mahomes fall to 6-1 in the divisional round of the playoffs. The Chiefs are my number 1 seed for next year. The number 1 seed. The Ravens are on top of the world at that moment in time on December 25th. And they're going to win the Super Bowl 59 weeks later. The end of their season 1 month and 4 days later in the AFC Championship game. End is Camacho 14. That is with the end day included. Lamar Jackson, 2-4 playoff record, 3-4, kind of like Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's Camacho 34. 34 could be Burrow if we see Bengals Ravens in the wild card round. Who knows? A win in the divisional round against the champions of the NFL, going for the who already won the repeat, going for a three-peat. Lamar Jackson could be 4-4 in the playoffs, and then if he makes it to the AFC title game, a 5-4 record. The winner of Super Bowl 54, the winner of the Super Bowl at Vegas, if it ends up being the Chiefs, and then it's also Bills. That's Camacho 54. So this and when I will have to go with the Bills to defeat the Ravens in the regular season. Lamar will lose to all three quarterbacks in the regular season. I will go with the Bills to defeat the Ravens. And so again, they have zero chance of beating the Chiefs in the first game of the season. And I don't have the Ravens losing against the Cowboys. They'll be 2-2. They could be 2-3. That will not surprise me at all. I can see a 3-3 record after the Commanders. But then I can easily see a scenario where they can win 4 straight games. I do like the Ravens to start 7-3 depending on who they beat. But again, if the Ravens beat the Bucs and they beat the Commanders and they beat the Cowboys, then it's looking like conference record, well, the division record's going to decide. So ordinarily Joe Burrow loses against the Browns. So with that being said, I will go with Burrow to have the better record against the Steelers in the Browns compared to Lamar Jackson. And it's Ravens, Steelers, and anything can happen. So this is a game where I can probably see the Steelers winning because it is Steelers, Ravens after all. But check out the Ravens schedule. They go up against all the quarterbacks. They go up against Mahomes. They go up against Dak. They go up against Allen. They go up against Joe Burrow. They go up against... Hey, you could consider Baker Mayfield a top-notch quarterback. And then Justin Herbert, and then Jalen Hurts, and then C.J. Stroud. So, the Ravens are going to go through a ton of elite quarterbacks. It's something that is going to get them ready for the playoffs. So I will see some early struggles for Lamar Jackson early in the season, but then ultimately it's going to be a great turnaround for Lamar Jackson. Have to doubt Lamar Jackson. Oh, he's black. You can only run. He's a running back. Papa, he's a running back. You see? All these dog whistles. Lamar can't play. The only quarterback does he have to have a black guy play quarterback. I get ready for the dog whistles when the playoffs. He can't play quarterback because he's a black guy. He can only run. Oh, he doesn't have the smarts. How many times do we hear about that? All the time. It seems like you have to be held to a much higher standard if you play quarterback and you're black. It is what it is. Divisional round 2-2 record like Gematria of Oakland. Kamala Harris, she's from Oakland. 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the divisional round. Could face off against Mahomes again in the divisional round. Patrick is Camacho 33. How much time would that be from the season opener to like a Saturday or Sunday of the divisional round? September 5th? This would be perfect. Right as Lamar Jackson defeat Patrick Mahomes before Kamala Harris gets sworn in. What? And you know the Ravens are named Maryland after the Virgin Mary, and then after the Virgin Mary, and then you have the first female president. So the Ravens have the best symbol. As I told you, the Ravens were not making it to the Super Bowl last year. I told you the Ravens were not beating the Chiefs. The Bills were not beating the Chiefs. I told you. Yeah, you see, I'm still not used to playoffs beginning this later, January 18, January the 19th. Black voters win this election, and on top of it, women win the election. You know, a second meeting 19 weeks later, right before inauguration, that Lamar Jackson could have the big upset. And think about it, the Chiefs won the first repeat in 19 years. What if their season ends 19 weeks later? That's what I like about that. The bottom line is there has to be surprises. I do like the Chiefs to start 2-0, as I've said before. You can see that at the end of the video. There is a 9-8 like champions. There is a 6-4 like Kansas City Chiefs. So you never know if they do make it to the conference title. But the 22nd loss against Lamar Jackson, Kamala born at Oakland, Joe Flacco won the Ravens last Super Bowl. Flacco is Gamache 22. Doug Williams Super Bowl victory in Super Bowl 22. This is what I like about the 22nd playoff loss. Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, it looks like they're not going to meet. And if they do meet, 6-3 in the conference title, it could face off against Aaron Rodgers before the conference championship. Aaron Rodgers, Camacho 63. Or maybe the Chiefs could face off against Aaron Rodgers 135 days after the beginning of the season. I do like the Jets to beat the Chiefs if they do face off against Kansas City. So Ravens and Jets are my two contenders to face off against Patrick Mahomes in the divisional round. So it's not a certainty, although there is a good narrative of a potential Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes matchup. So yeah, the Chiefs season could still end 19 weeks regardless of who it is against, the Jets or the Ravens. And hey, I just cannot see Buffalo facing off against Kansas City this year. They're going to change it up a little bit. Although, you should... Tell you, there's some good divisions out there. The AFC East with these three teams that we speak about outside of New England, and then not so much the AFC West, but the AFC North, obviously, because Steelers always hover around 500. They manage to stay in the race. Ravens could get their 19th win against, the team, the first repeat since the year 19. Just Lamar Jackson's a very polarizing player because he's a running back. This is probably why Lamar Jackson has to go through Patrick Mahomes. The prior two MVPs of the NFL, did Lamar win MVP last year? Or better yet, as I speak about this, what's the record for the Ravens in the playoffs ever since they last won the Super Bowl? That's, I think, a very good way of looking at it. Yeah, I'm waiting the news of Kamala announcing her pick. 1-1, 1-3, 2-4, 2-5, 3-6. So that's basically 4-6, 5-6, 6-6, like title, like Caesar Superdome. And 7-6 would be Gematria of the Detroit Lions. So nothing is for certain. Understand the AFC South with the two quarterbacks too, a wild card contender. You think about Dolphins, you think about Jets, you think about the runner-up of the AFC North. How are the Chargers going to be? So it's not a given that a Jaguars or a Jets will be in the postseason because it's going to be a very crowded wild card field in the AFC. But I do like the Chiefs to get the number 1 seed. Now, what's Patrick Mahomes' home playoff record? It's not a definite which team. Aaron Rodgers beating Mahomes would be Broadway. It would be. So the home record for Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. Uh, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 8-1, 8-2, or 8-1. Let's see. I left out the AFC title game here. So again, back 2018, 1-1, 3-1. 5-1, 7-2. I think it's 10-2 or something. I believe it is. I believe it is. I know some games are on the road, some games are neutral venue, the Super Bowl, obviously. So he can fall to 10-3 at home in the playoffs. Lamar, Demetrius, I don't think I'm spelling that correctly, but I'm going to show you what 10-3 is about. It's Lamar Jackson's name. I will like the Ravens. Lamar Demetrius Jackson Jr. is actually okay 94 because I included the I in there. I thought it did. Let's try the Scottish Rite style. Well, Mahomes' home playoff record would be 10-2 if he does face off against Lamar Jackson. a key contributor, Derrick Henry, his playoff record, because it's about him too, as much as it's about Lamar Jackson. You know, we never saw Kobe and LeBron in the NBA Finals, 2008. The Magic beat the Cavs. So what if we know no Mahomes against Rodgers? So history could definitely favor that when we break it down from the other league. I mean, he could be 5-4 in the playoffs when he defeats the team that won the Super Bowl at Vegas, Vegas 54. This is how I look at it from Derrick Henry. 7-4 is a big Masonic number too. You can't ignore that.